The Snow White remake controversy continues to grow, and Disney CEO Bob Iger is once again at the center of the storm. This time, the backlash is fueled by the second trailer for the film, which has been met with overwhelming negativity. Starring Rachel Zegler as the iconic princess, the movie has become a lightning rod for criticism, not just for its creative decisions but also due to its lead actress's controversial comments. The latest trailer, released just weeks after Zegler's inflammatory remarks about 80 million Americans, received an abysmal reception. As of December 10th, it had racked up nearly 800,000 dislikes compared to just 27,000 likes. The ratio of 14 dislikes to 1 like paints a clear picture of public sentiment. Audiences are not on board. Disney's live-action remakes are no strangers to criticism, with films like Dumbo and The Lion King facing their fair share of skepticism. But the uproar surrounding Snow White is unprecedented. The original 1937 animated classic is an iconic piece of cinema history, celebrated for its groundbreaking artistry and timeless charm. While not perfect by today's standards, it remains beloved by fans worldwide. So why is this remake stirring up such a firestorm? The answer lies in a combination of nostalgia, frustration, and Disney's relentless drive to modernize its classics, whether audiences want it or not. First, let's address the elephant in the room. Nobody was clamoring for a Snow White remake. Unlike some Disney properties that have nostalgic fan bases eager for updates, Snow White wasn't high on anyone's wish list. The original is still widely regarded as a masterpiece, and many fans feel there's no need to tamper with it. Instead of honoring its legacy, Disney has chosen to overhaul the story with changes that feel more like solutions to non-existent problems. These creative decisions, combined with an apparent disregard for the original's core elements, have alienated much of the film's potential audience. One of the most controversial changes is the removal of the 7 dwarfs, a defining feature of the original tale. The decision was reportedly influenced by actor Peter Dinklage, who criticized the story's portrayal of little people. While Disney's intention to avoid offense may have been well-meaning, the proposed replacement, Magical Persons, was widely mocked for its absurdity. Critics argue that this change robbed talented actors in the little people community of roles while doing little to enhance the story. What might have been an opportunity for meaningful representation instead became a symbol of Disney's perceived overcorrection. Then there's the casting of Rachel Zegler as Snow White, which has sparked its own wave of controversy. In the original fairy tale, Snow White's defining characteristic is her skin as white as snow, a literal description tied to the story's themes. Casting someone who doesn't match this specific trait has struck many fans as a fundamental misunderstanding of the character. While race-bending has been successful in other adaptations, such as Halle Bailey's Ariel in The Little Mermaid, Snow White's name and appearance are integral to her identity. For many fans, this choice feels like a departure too far from the source material. Zegler's off-screen comments have only added fuel to the fire. In interviews, she has dismissed the original Snow White as outdated and implied that the remake is fixing its flaws. While she may have intended to highlight the modernized elements of the story, her tone came across as condescending to many fans. Instead of celebrating the legacy of the 1937 classic, her remarks seemed to downplay its significance. Fans who grew up cherishing the original felt insulted, as if their love for the movie was being dismissed as irrelevant or misguided. One of the most contentious aspects of the remake is its handling of the prince. Early reports suggested that the prince, a symbol of hope in the original story, would have a diminished or non-existent role. While no one is asking for a 2024 retelling to feature a damsel in distress narrative, removing the prince altogether feels like another overreach. Snow White's story was never about waiting for a man to save her. It was about resilience, kindness, and staying true to oneself. By framing the removal of the prince as a feminist win, Disney appears to be rewriting a story that didn't need fixing in the first place. Beyond the creative decisions, Zegler's interviews have caused further damage. In one now infamous moment, she implied that the original story needed a complete overhaul, sparking outrage among fans. Her dismissive tone alienated audiences who see Snow White as a cultural treasure. Instead of fostering excitement for the remake, her comments have reinforced the perception that Disney is out of touch with its audience. The fallout from these controversies has extended beyond the film itself. The decision to replace the dwarfs, for example, has been criticized as performative rather than meaningful. Even fans who initially supported Dinklage's critique felt that Disney's solution missed the mark. Instead of addressing valid concerns thoughtfully, the studio seems to have created new problems, alienating both longtime fans and those seeking authentic representation. This pattern of unnecessary changes has become a hallmark of Disney's live-action remakes. From altering iconic lyrics in The Little Mermaid to removing beloved scenes in other adaptations, these updates often feel more like pandering than progress. Fans aren't resistant to change. They're resistant to changes that misunderstand or undermine the essence of the original stories. By prioritizing modern sensibilities over timeless appeal, Disney risks alienating the very audience that has supported it for decades. The negative reception to the Snow White trailer is a wake-up call. With a like-to-dislike ratio that speaks volumes, it's clear that Disney's approach to remakes is no longer working. Audiences are tired of seeing their favorite stories stripped down and reimagined in ways that feel disingenuous. Instead of honoring the classics, Disney seems intent on reshaping them to fit a corporate agenda, often at the expense of what made them special in the first place. For Disney, the stakes are higher than ever. The backlash against Snow White is not an isolated incident. It's the culmination of years of frustration with the company's direction. From Mulan to The Lion King, audiences have watched as Disney's remakes have strayed further and further from their roots. Each misstep chips away at the trust and goodwill the brand has built over nearly a century. As for Snow White, the damage may already be done. With a lead actress who has alienated fans, a story stripped of its defining elements, and a marketing campaign that has failed to win over audiences, the film faces an uphill battle. Disney may need to rethink its entire approach to remakes if it hopes to regain the trust of its audience. What do you think about the Snow White drama? Are fans justified in their frustration, or is Disney being unfairly criticized? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates on this unfolding controversy. One thing is for sure, this story is far from over.